Kampani ya maulendo a ndege ya Malawi Airlines ikudziwitsa makasitomala awo onse kuti kuyambira pa 1 May 2026 kugula matikiti kudzichitika pogwiritsa ntchito njira za digital. Monga gawo la kusintha kumeneku, kulipira kudzalandiridwa kudzera potumiza ndalama ku bank transfer, makina a POS mabanki osiyanasiyana omwe alipo ku maofesi athu. Njirazi zomwe zakhazikitsidwa pofuna kuthandiza makasitomala mwachangu komanso pofuna kukhwimitsa chitetezo zizigwirizana ndi njira zina zomwe zilipo kale zogulira matikiti pa intaneti kuphatikizapo tsamba lathu la website komanso pa foni, mogwirizana ndi mmene makampani a ndege pa dziko lonse akusinthira kupita ku njira za digital. Tikulimbikitsa makasitomala onse kuti akonzekere kusintha kumeneku kugwiritsa ntchito njira zolipira za pa intaneti zomwe zilipo. Ogwira ntchito athu ku maofesi ogulitsa ndi ku airport adzakhalapo kuti athandize ndi kutsogolera makasitomala pa nthawi yakusinthaku. Mukafuna kumva zambiri, tumizani email pa customerrelations@malawianairlines.com kapena imbani foni pa 0992 991 097.
Malawi Airlines, from the warm heart of Africa.
Announcement: transition to cashless ticketing. Malawi Airlines would like to inform all valued customers that effective 1st May, all ticket purchases will be conducted exclusively through cashless transactions. As part of this transition, payment will be accepted via bank transfers and POS machines for various banks available at our offices. This measure is designed to streamline our processes, reduce transaction times, and ensure a safer, more secure way of completing bookings. Cashless ticketing will complement our existing online booking platforms, our website, and our mobile application while aligning with global aviation practices that embrace digital payment solutions. We encourage all customers to prepare for this change by making use of the available electronic payment facilities. Our sales and airport staff will be available to guide and assist customers during this transition. For further assistance, please contact our customer service team via customerrelations@malawianairlines.com or call our support line. We remain committed to serving you with dignity, efficiency, and care as we embrace this new chapter. This announcement is brought to you by Malawi Airlines Management.
Malawi Airlines, from the warm heart of Africa.
Glad you could join us for our 7:30 news bulletin. Today with me, Tandy Williams-Zamara. First, the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges prayer for equal access to food amid global hunger crisis. Governance expert says economic hardships overshadow Labor Day for workers. Civil society organizations back Malawi Revenue Authority MRIA electronic invoicing system as key tool to curb tax evasion. And in our special report this week, Charity Chilanga takes a closer look at growing confusion over the roles of block leaders and village headmen across Malawi through a case study of Chinsapo 2 ward in Lilongwe. We do have the details to these stories and more. Just stay with us. Pope Leo XIV has urged Catholics across the globe to join him this May in praying that everyone might have food. Through the monthly Pray with the Pope video, the Pope has recognized with sorrow that millions of brothers and sisters continue to suffer from hunger. We have more details in this Vatican News report read by Phallus Chizombe.
Lamenting that so many goods are wasted at our tables, Pope Leo prayed that the Lord may awaken in us a new awareness that we reign to give thanks for every food, to consume simply, to share with joy, and to care for the fruits of the earth as a gift from God, destined for all, not just a few. He prayed that Jesus makes us capable of transforming the logic of selfish consumption into a culture of solidarity through our communities by promoting concrete gestures, including awareness campaigns, food banks, and a sober and responsible lifestyle. Pope Leo concluded by praying that no one may be excluded from the common table and that God's Spirit teaches us to see bread not as an object of consumption, but as a sign of communion and care. According to the World Food Programme's 2026 Global Outlook, 318 million people will face food crisis or even worse situations this year. The agency has warned that the conflict in the Middle East could push an additional 45 million people into facing dire hunger before the middle of this year. In a press release accompanying the video, Father Cristobal Fons, International Director of the Pope's Worldwide Prayer Network, said the intention is very significant.
Lilongwe Archdiocese Auxiliary Bishop, His Lordship Vincent Frederick Mwakwawa, has urged Catholic faithful in the Archdiocese to allow the Holy Spirit to guide them in their missionary work and contribute to Malawi's development. Bishop Mwakwawa made these remarks during the closing of the Synod General Assembly at St. Kizito Chigoneka Parish in the Archdiocese of Lilongwe. Emmanuel Shiwocha has filed this report.
In his homily, Bishop Mwakwawa emphasized the importance of Christians following the example of St. Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus, by relying on the Holy Spirit and embracing hard work. He also cautioned the faithful against engaging in corrupt practices.
I have encouraged the delegates here and the Christians who gathered that they should go back and implement what we have discussed here. Of course, there will be a few months of editing, but we want them to live and work hard. Today was also a feast of St. Joseph, the Waker. So I urge the people to work hard in their families, in their workplaces, in the church, and in the country, so that we should continue to build the country.
Echoing the bishop's sentiments, one of the delegates, Dr. Mary Shower, said she has received the message wholeheartedly, stressing the need for Christians to depend on the Holy Spirit and avoid corruption.
For me, I've received that message with thanksgiving, because the Holy Spirit is finally talking to us.
The General Assembly, held from April 20 to 1 May, attracted delegates from all parishes within the Archdiocese to gather views on shaping the direction of the Archdiocese and addressing challenges facing the Church to ensure its progress. Meanwhile, the faithful will have to wait approximately 3 months for the Synod Commission to review the deliberations. The Planning Commission will then consolidate the outcome before submission to the Archbishop George Desmond Tambara for the consideration and implementation. For Luntha News, in Lilongwe, this is Emmanuel Juocha.
Governance expert Dr. George Jaima has said most workers have little to celebrate, warning that economic pressures are making life increasingly difficult for ordinary employees. Speaking in an interview with Luntha television on Friday on the sidelines of International Labour Day, Dr. Jaima said that while political leaders continue to offer contrasting messages, the reality on the ground shows that workers are struggling. Constance Kamtemeni has filed this report.
In his remarks, Jaima noted that it is common for the opposition and the government to hold differing views. He pointed out that leader of opposition Simplex Chichula Banda has raised concerns over governance, while President Peter Mutharika has highlighted progress. However, Jaima stressed that workers' lived experiences tell a different story. He said high taxes and the rising cost of living are placing a heavy burden on employees, making it difficult for many to feel satisfied with their earnings. He added that only few individuals on top government positions appear to be benefiting.
What we got to understand is when matters of national importance come up, we will always hear two conflicting views. The opposition wants always to side with those who are complaining, and the government will always also wants to protect its side of good governance. But if we are to look at the current conditions for workers in general, I think it would be wrong to say that employees from different companies are enjoying their services at the moment.
Meanwhile, leader of opposition Simplex Chichula Banda has described the situation as governance crisis, citing corruption, fuel shortages, unemployment, and low farm gate prices as key challenges affecting Malawians. However, President Professor Peter Mutharika says workers remain central to national development. He emphasized the government's commitment to protecting workers' rights, promoting skills development, and supporting economic growth. For Luntha News, this is Constance Kamtemin.
A coalition of civil society organizations, CSOs, has thrown its support behind the Malawi Revenue Authority, MRA, as it shifts from electronic fiscal devices, EFDs, to the electronic invoicing system, EIS, describing the reform as a key move towards greater transparency and accountability in tax collection. The organization's Center for Democracy and Economic Development Initiative stated Mzuzu Youth Caucus, Drug Fight Malawi, Citizens League, and Youth Alive Mchinji believe the transition to EIS will greatly enhance the monitoring of value-added tax VAT and help curb revenue leakages. Seated Northern Region Coordinator Gomezjani Nkoma has noted that the opposition to such reforms is often presented as concern over high taxes, yet in reality it tends to conceal a reluctance to embrace accountability. Here is part of what Nkoma had to say.
When taxes are collected, when revenues are collected. So it is a system actually which is beneficial to our country. And for your own information, this is a system that was developed domestically by our young men and women who work with MRA. So we need to prioritize our systems. Unlike the EFDs, it was imported system, which meant that when the devices got damaged, it was going to be sent abroad for it to be fixed, which was costly as well. So the system is domestic, thereby reducing cost of maintenance, at the same time bringing the tax collection very friendly to the end user.
Women activists in the country have intensified calls for political leaders to take a more proactive and deliberate role in supporting female candidates ahead of the by-elections scheduled for the 30th of June 2026. Speaking in an interview with Luntha Television, Women's Academy for Political Leadership and Excellence chairperson Lingalirani Mihoa has said achieving meaningful gender representation in politics requires more than public declarations of support. Alison Banda has more details in this report.
Mihowa said political parties must demonstrate genuine commitment by creating an enabling environment that allows women to participate and compete on equal footing with their male counterparts. She noted that this includes providing financial support, leadership trainings, and strategic backing for female candidates, as well as addressing structural and cultural barriers that have historically limited women's participation in politics.
Working with political parties to transform them so that they're able to appreciate and encourage women's political leadership, especially those that are vying for members of parliament and councillors, because there are times when women are interested and are capable, but the political parties may not give them the space that's required for them to thrive in that ambition. So we need to address that issue by continuing to work with political parties. We need to find a way of ensuring that there are mechanisms that the Ministry of Gender and other stakeholders put in place to support women's economic empowerment.
Concurring with Mihowa, another activist, Memory Chisenga, stressed the importance of strong political will, urging party leaders to adopt clear and actionable policies that prioritize the inclusion of women in electoral processes.
Let us have more male champions that can actually speak about this and actually be able to encourage women to participate in politics. Because we've had a challenge where political parties, some of the political parties in our country do not really empower the women. Women would go to the constituencies and be chased, some of them harassed. So those type of incidences actually discourage women to participate in politics. So we want a more safe space for women, and also we need to have more men that can actually be able to encourage.
The Malawi Electoral Commission MEC has announced that it will hold by-elections in 2 constituencies and 2 wards on 30 June 2026. Meanwhile, women will hold only 49 out of 229 seats, representing 21% compared to a significant higher number of male representatives.
Meanwhile, the Malawi Electoral Commission MEC has assured voters in Mulunguzi constituency in Malaga district of fair, credible and transparent elections. MEC Commissioner Reverend Philip Gambolire made these remarks on Friday during the official launch of the by-election at Kankao Teachers Development Center in the district, following the nullification of the previous results by the Supreme Court of Malawi. We have more details in this report filed by Andrew Nandolo.
Commissioner Reverend Kambulire said MEC is committed to ensuring that all electoral stakeholders and voters experience a transparent and credible electoral process. He, however, advised that candidates who feel aggrieved should seek clarification through legal channels rather than resorting to unnecessary disputes.
Yes, people need to not to doubt us, because when courts are trying to analyze the issues, there are a lot of factors which they consider. It's not necessarily that the Malawi Electoral Commission had some things which, we can say can make people to doubt us. But it's a process, you know. There are a lot of things or factors that we consider that may take place in the process. So candidates have got that freedom, in fact, to launch their complaint and see how best the process can, favor them. So it depends on how they, express themselves in the courts, so that the court are able now to take the side and to say, no, this is the way how things were supposed to go.
In his remarks, Balaka District Commissioner Abibu Ndala Yusuf said the council, together with all relevant stakeholders, is fully prepared to facilitate the smooth conduct of the electoral process. He further commended MEC for promptly acting in line with the court's ruling that ordered the commission to conduct fresh elections on April 28, 2026.
Yeah, thank you very much. As you know, we already have a structure at this level which we call DEST. This structure will make sure that we work hand in hand with all key stakeholders. Firstly, in ensuring that we sensitize the community about these elections, civic education, making sure that this election is conducted in a free and fair manner. we will make sure that we follow up on each and every stage of this electoral process. As I also indicated in my speech, is that we need to make sure that we work with all stakeholders, and I also urged with the monitors, the party representatives, to make sure that they monitor all aspects of or all stages of the electoral process. This will ensure that we have a free, credible and fair elections.
The Malawi Electoral Commission is conducting fresh elections in Mulunguzi constituency in Balaka district following a complaint filed by Democratic Progressive Party candidate James Makumla, who challenged the 16 September 2025 elections results over alleged irregularities. In the original results, MEC had declared Irene Mambala, an independent candidate, as the winner. Reporting from Balaka, this is Andrew Nandolo.
You're still watching news coming to you live from Bishop Navy Media Center, and today with me, Tandi Wemzumara. Before we proceed, let's have another look at the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges prayer for equal access to food amid global hunger crisis. Governance expert says economic hardships overshadow Labor Day for workers. Civil society organizations back Malawi Revenue Authority MRIA electronic invoicing system as key tool to curb tax evasion. And in our special report this week, Charity Chilanga takes a closer look at growing confusion over the roles of block leaders and village headmen across Malawi through a case study of Chinsapo 2 ward in Lilongwe. Spark Systems Limited Managing Director Wisely Perry has described the new data center as a major boost for Malawi's digital economy, noting that it will lower data hosting costs, enhance data sovereignty, and support digital transformation efforts in both public and private sectors. Perry made these remarks on Thursday in Lilongwe during the launch of the data center, which is aimed at strengthening the country's data systems. We have more details in this report followed by Gift Kalonga.
Piri said the new data center is a major step for Malawi's technology sector, offering a more affordable and reliable way for organizations to host their digital systems. He added that Spark also aims to expand its services beyond Malawi, helping to generate foreign exchange and strengthen the country's position in the regional digital economy.
Hosting the data center, I think changes a lot of things in the country. We're talking about innovations. We're talking about Malawi becoming self-sustaining by 2063. I think that's the direction that we want to go as a country. It means all of us will have to come into it and look at the digital economy and help. But then when you look at most of the companies, when you want to host your own systems, the cost of hosting those systems is very expensive. You talk about converting your place, for example, into server hosting, where you'll be able to keep servers in. So to make that purpose built, it becomes expensive. Then you're looking at the power, the cooling and all that. So most of the companies, they decided now to be hosting data outside. So you host data outside, that means you're not the owner of the data.
Paul Kamtambi, under the Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, said Spark Data Center marks an important milestone in Malawi's digital transformation journey, supporting government efforts to modernize systems and strengthen local data management under the Malawi's 2063 vision.
All right, the launch of this data center by Spark Systems Limited is a milestone that needs to be celebrated as a country. You will recall that within the Malawi 2063 agenda, there are several items that have been outlined in that agenda document. One of which is to transform the country of Malawi into one that's going to self-sustain itself in terms of economy.
Meanwhile, Spark Systems Limited says the launch of its data center marks a key step in strengthening Malawi's digital infrastructure and expanding access to affordable data hosting services for both public and private sector users. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Gift Kalonga.
Lilongwe-based businessman, social media personality Ibrahim Swedi has clarified that he has no political ties, saying his focus is firmly on community development and empowering young people through sports. Swedi made the remarks ahead of the official launch of a 6 million Malawi Kwacha football tournament in Kota Central, scheduled for the 10th of May 2026. The initiative aims to nurture football talent in the district. Patrick Pupa has more details.
Speaking ahead of the launch, Swedi said the competition is purely a personal development project and not linked to any political party or campaign. He emphasized that the goal is to give back to the community by investing in sport, which he described as a key tool for unity, discipline, and positive transformation among the youth.
Then I decided to give them something to do instead of wasting their precious time playing around without getting something out of it or doing some nasty jobs and stuff. So that's why I thought that I should give them this thing so that it should keep them busy. By the end of the day, they'll get something out of it.
According to the Kota District Football Association, team registration is currently ongoing and will close on May 5, 2026. The Swedi Cup is set to be officially launched on May 10, 2026 at Lozi Secondary School ground. Winners of the tournament will take home 2 million Malawi Kwacha, while runners-up will receive 1 million Kwacha. For Luntha News, this is Patrick Pupa.
Misunderstandings surrounding the roles of block leaders and village headmen are emerging in several parts of Malawi following the introduction of block leaders under the Local Government Act. The situation has created uncertainty in many communities, particularly where traditional leadership structures already exist, raising concerns about coordination, authority, and service delivery at grassroots level. Chinsapo 2 ward in Lilongwe is one such example where tensions between the two structures recently prompted local authorities to intervene. In our special report this week, Charity Chilanga takes a closer look at Chinsapo 2 ward as a case study to understand how these misunderstandings are affecting communities and how dialogue is helping to restore order and cooperation.
Malawi's decentralization drive, guided by the Local Government Act, aims to bring governance closer to the people by creating structures such as block leaders to support development coordination, civic engagement, and service delivery at grassroots level. However, in Chinsapo 2 ward, the coexistence of block leaders and village headmen led to overlapping responsibilities and tension. Residents say the lack of clarity created uncertainty about whom to report to on community matters. Rose Dominic from Tugo Block says the situation was confusing for many.
Block leaders were introduced alongside village headmen, and it confused us. When we reported activities to block leaders, they helped, but village headmen complained that we hadn't told them. We didn't know where we were supposed to report to or where we belonged in the village.
Village headman Timbui acknowledges that disagreements emerged between the two leadership structures, affecting development coordination and community security.
We
had disagreements with headmen and block leaders over development issues. When projects came into the area, there was discrimination and even lack of respect for each other's culture. We failed to manage development and security properly because our roles and responsibilities were unclear.
mtundu wa mablokolida ukatukapange control kumakhala kulekelelana kapena kukilana.
Chinsapo 2 Block 10 leader James Musa also admits that limited understanding of roles contributed to divisions, with some traditional leaders resisting input from block leaders.
Block leaders caused confusion. When we raised issues with headmen, they often rejected them. We remained divided.
The National Initiative for Civic Education, NICE, says such conflicts hinder development, emphasizing the need for continued civic education and dialogue to foster cooperation.
Without tolerance, there is no any development. Our law is to continue sensitizing them concerning about the coming together or being all together in one place and discussed and agreed and find out the problem that affect the development of the area.
In response to the challenges, Chinsapo 2 Ward Councillor Christopher Namakwa brought together block leaders, village headmen and other stakeholders to address the misunderstandings that chart a way forward. Following the engagement, Namakwa pledged to facilitate regular meetings to ensure collaboration and accountability among local leaders.
Yeah, we'll be having meetings now on and on. It's not only the last day today. So that when we are meeting, we'll be discussing where the areas the block leaders are failing, where the areas the chiefs are failing. So I'll make sure that they are moving together. There is no any division among these groups, whether it's the party, the block leaders, the chiefs. I'll make sure that not only
the discussions appear to have yielded positive results, with the stakeholders expressing a renewed commitment to working together. Rose Dominic says the engagement clarified that block leaders and headmen must operate in coordination rather than in isolation.
Engagement opened our minds. We now understand that a block leader cannot work alone without a headman. When issues are raised at the block level, the block leader must inform the headman so they can work together.
Local security authorities have also welcomed the initiative. Officer in charge for Chinsapo Police Unit, Mavuro Banda, commended the councillor for promoting dialogue, expressing hope that such engagements will continue to strengthen community governance and safety.
I'm very much delighted for the initiative made by our councillor Namakwa, who has invited all the stakeholders here.
The developments in Chinsapo 2 Ward highlight both the challenges and opportunities within Malawi's decentralized governance system, underscoring the importance of clear role definition, communication, and unity among local leadership structures.
Well, that story also brings us to the end of what we had for you in this edition of our news bulletin. But before we go, here's a reminder of the headlines. Pope Leo XIV urges prayer for equal access to food amid global hunger crisis. Governance expert says economic hardships overshadow Labor Day for workers. Civil society organizations back Malawi Revenue Authority MRA electronic invoicing system as key tool to curb tax evasion. And in our special report this week, Charity Chilanga takes a closer look at growing confusion over the roles of block leaders and village headmen across Malawi through a case study of Chinsapo 2 Ward in Lilongwe. My name is Tandi Wemzumara. Thank you so much for keeping me company and to continue following the rest of our programs right here on Luntha TV. Goodbye for now and have a lovely weekend.